believe, are out there revving up, trying to fling some mud. Looks like Marcos spins out a little bit. We got JP, Marcos, and Raul all out there. These cars are going to get muddy. It's going to be hard for you to tell. It's going to be hard for me to tell. But what a day of qualifying it's going to be. Some of these guys haven't even had their cars out of the trailer, and they're out here trying to dry this track up. So we have some of the Western Series guys out here. We have the Campbells, Cabrera, Gomez, Casey Shearer and his Can-Am from the West Coast. Also Jason Blanton I see out there running around. And then we have a lot of the East Coast, you know, all the Millers, the Bleilers, Jeff Brown, George Schooley, they're all part of Miller Motorsports Chassis. It's going to be fast. It's going to be fun. So speaking about all the different chassis, the Fab School Manufacturers Cup, Miller Motorsports is in the lead by 3 points. And this is an East tight race, so it's going to help these guys out quite a bit with all this mud. But remember last year, it was Waylon Campbell 1, Eric Miller 2, and Levi Shirley 3. So 2 IFSs up front. We'll see with all this tight woods, all this mud, if that'll change that up or not. So we do have Shannon is not racing, but Bailey and Waylon are racing along with Caprera and Levi Shirley for the Campbell chassis. We have Jimmy's out here. They have a couple cars running. It's interesting to see some of these guys are running two-wheel drive out here trying to spin those rear tires going, but I just see Mike Bergman slowly going up that hill, spinning all 4 tires. These tires are getting gummed up. There's Patrick Murray and his Can-Am. There's Dustin Robbins on screen. And again, I'm going to do my best to tell you who's who, but boy, with all this mud, it's going to be tough. That was Patrick Murray. Michael Lee. Is that Casey Shearer? It looks like, but boy, they are already so muddy, it's hard to tell who's who. And they haven't even started racing yet. It looked like Terhune, the 890, part of Team Indiana. So the corner you are looking now, it's a sweeping left-hand 180. That is the MBRP. Turn 1. There's Stan Haynes, Mr. Brannick Motorsports himself. It looks like Randall Holmes. These guys are flinging mud, probably 70, 80 feet in the air when they're on it trying to clean this track off. What a great aerial view. Look at all the greenery. This place is absolutely beautiful. The Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park, if you've not been here, they've got great facilities. They have a general store on site. You can buy, ice, food, drinks. They have a shower house. So if you come out here just on a normal weekend to Rec Wheel, this place is awesome. I took a sight lap with Jody Ford earlier in his UTV. And the trails out here are amazing. It was muddy, so it was hard to go around some of these places. But the park itself is extremely cool. So if you're anywhere out here in the Kentucky area, you haven't been here, you need to add this to your list. But so far we're having fun. This is the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass, just outside of Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park, outside of Bedford, Kentucky. So we are getting ready to start qualifying, and we're doing a few parade laps because we did get a lot of rain just now, and they're trying to burn the top little slick mud off, because if you go out there and race full speed right now, it's so slick, you're going to be blowing corners. So they're out there just trying to kind of smooth the track out, blow through the water holes. You can see right there, Rick Lavezzo just went completely sideways, not at race speed. So the track's going to be slick. It's going to be fast. It's going to be fun. And I think smooth will be fast today, because if you go in this corner's too hot, you're going to go sideways, flip around. So it's going to be interesting. Qualifying is going to be fun. There's a lot of cars on course as we speak. So qualifying will be kicking off here shortly. There is a little bit of rain in the area, but we hope we miss that. We did not earlier today. It'll be interesting. It looks like the cars are starting to leave course. So we could be getting qualifying kicked off here very soon. We do have just shy of 90 cars registered to race this race. It's going to be very interesting to see. I see James Cantrell in his Mad Ram 11 UTV coming out on course, and it looks so orange, so shiny. That's about to change. If you are on site, we have Daddy's Food. They've been feeding us all season long, so huge shout out to those guys. Make sure to stop by and get some grub. Dirty Turtle has some kettle corn. They're selling some cheeseburgers, some fresh cut fries. Don't forget to check out the general store. They do have some parts. They've got drinks, they've got ice. They've got shower houses. It is a 5.3 mile course for tomorrow's race. Today we are qualifying just on the short course, which is roughly a mile in itself. Tomorrow evening after the race is the Big O dealership. They're sponsoring the shootout, part of the SRRS versus Ultra 4. We did that last year, had a lot of fun with it. So glad to see Clyde and the SRS guys out here helping. I saw Tim Cameron here. A lot of the big bouncer names are out here to play around tomorrow evening. And if weather permits, tomorrow we will have the first ever Kids Cup, the 170 Kids Cup. We hope to see them out here racing with us. This is the final race in the 4 Wheel Parts Eastern Regional Series. The King of the Hammers race, plus 3 of your best regional races, whether the Niddle National Championship. Will be the National Championship just outside of Reno, Nevada at the Wild West Motorsports Park. That is one of the biggest races we have other than King of the Hammers, so if you're able to make that one, it's very spectator friendly. There's huge grandstands. You can see almost the entire course from the grandstand, so if do not miss the Nitto National. And if you're in that area, make sure you check out Tahoe. Make a trip out of it. That's one of the most beautiful parts in the country up there. So, make sure you check out Reno Tahoe. And we still have the Nitto Triple Crown. That's King of the Hammers, the Mint 400, and Crandon is coming up over Labor Day. Jason Shearer is leading the points, followed by Paul Horschel. After Paul won the Mint, Jason Shearer won King of the Hammers. So we'll see how Crandon plays out. It'll be very interesting to see. The cars are already extremely dirty. The track's going to be slick, but it's definitely raceable. We will definitely see lots of spin-outs in some of these corners, I'm sure of it. Lots of guys out there doing some preventative mud work. I saw some duct tape on some of the vent works that they use to keep, some of the coolers cool on some of the desert racers. I saw Jason Blanton's car. He had all his extra little cooling spots duct taped off. I was talking to Dustin Robbins. He's got a cool tear-off system. It's a roller that's on electric, so it's on a steering wheel. So instead of a tear-off, you hit a button and it slides it on down. He's got like 250 tear-offs inside this muncher. So mud will definitely play a pact in tomorrow's racing. So that's why qualifying is so important. And today is qualifying for the KMC Hard Charger Award. KMC stepped up and they are reimbursing the top spot in each class. And then Ultra 4 is giving 7 points towards their national championship per class. And that's a great shot of the starting lineup. I do believe we're going to keep them in class. So it looks like the stock guys are lining up. So this weekend is the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. We are about to kick off qualifying. We're still trying to get the course looking good. Everything's going smooth. So I've got Lee O'Donnell. You're actually co-driving one of the cars out there. How is the track?
We were one of the first people not smart to go out this morning, and it was pretty slick. But this afternoon when we were on the short course, it dried up and the track was, I was itching to be the driver instead of the co-pilot. But
and speaking of driver, lots of you may not know the name Lee O'Donnell, but you won some of the monster truck stuff just a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, this year we got World Championship, Series Championship. We hold a lot of records so far this year, but my background is off-road racing and coming back to what I love doing.
Well, it's cool to see you, do so well in the monster truck scene and then transfer to Ultra 4, so we're glad to have you here. And like I said, you're co-driving Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s car. He's not driving. Who is driving that car this weekend?
Eric Davis is the driver. He's Vaughn's normal co-driver, so he gets the nod, and I'm the guy that has to help him along the way since he's brand new.
Well, that's cool to see. Thanks for the update. But, again, just the track's slick, right?
Yeah, it's as you can see, it's crazy slick, like I'd like to call it. But with the cars coming out here, kicking the mud off the top, and by the end of the day, it'll be a perfect track again.
Until the rain comes back in tonight, we'll see what happens. But I think today it's going to be smooth as fast. If you try to go too fast in some of these corners, we're going to see some loop outs.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of loop outs, and the cars are just going to push, especially the early cars going. But it's going to be the guy that survives the qualifying lap with no mistakes. He's going to be the fastest guy.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's going to be very exciting. And I'll step back again just a little bit, talking about the love for off-road. We have a lot of people. It's the Ultra 4 family. Keep going back to that. And you just bought a UTV for your kid to come out here racing. And one of the guys that's lined up right now, Albert Contreras, brought it out here for you, all the way from California. So there again, how cool is that for everybody to just pitch in to help everybody?
Yeah, it was a simple phone call. Dave Cole made it happen. I said, hey, I need to get the UTV from point A to point B, and God love Albert, and he stepped up and brought it from LA to here in Kentucky, and then I'll take it home from there.
Well, thanks again, Lee O'Donnell. It looks like we are racing action. Qualifying has started. That is the 46.59 of Michael Justo on course. He's our first qualifier for the KMC Hard Charger. And like I said, Smooth is going to be fast. He's definitely not pushing the car too hard yet. It's going to be very interesting. We are going to run the whole 4600 Pro Comp stock class first. So Justin's still trucking along. The track is slick. And this is the Pro Comp stock class, so these guys have smaller tires, smaller suspension. They have to have mechanical steering, one shock per corner, maximum of a 35-inch DOT tire. And a lot of these are Jeep-based. They started out as actual vehicles that were on the road. Some of them are still tagged. Michael Justo still on course. He just made it through the Dirty Turtle off-road rollers. Heading downhill into that tight 180 turn to head back up.
I didn't think he was moving fast.
We got our second competitor on course. That's going to be the 4677 Christopher D'Oria. The course is already showing. It looks like Michael Justo's having a little issues heading up towards the Nitto kicker turn. Looks like he's got back moving again. So we have on course is Michael Justo out front and Christopher D'Oria out back. Christopher's heading through the King corner as we speak. This is the 4600 Pro Comp stock class out on course for their KMC qualifying run. Remember, they are stepping up. If you get pole position, they are reimbursing you your entry fee. So a huge shout out to KMC for stepping up in that way. So we'll get a time here shortly for Michael Justo. Looks like so unofficially, Michael Justo with a 3:18. It's going to be tough for these stock guys because they have to have factory engines, not a lot of horsepower out there. Remember, everything I do say is unofficial. Got to make sure all our ducks are in a row. There's the 4620. Ken Carter, 4620 on course in his Jeep Cherokee. Heading into RCV corner. So far, everybody in the Pro Comp stock class has been in a Jeep-based vehicle. So we'll get another time here shortly. Christopher D'Oria crossing the finish line with an unofficial time of 2:42, so roughly 35 seconds ahead. So far on pole position, Christopher D'Oria. Looks like up next should be Albert Contreras. Jeep Thrills Off-Road. He's all the way from Compton, California. He had a little bit of rough luck on the way out here. He's got a lifted dually Dodge on probably 37-inch tires, and he blew a rear dual. Didn't have a spare, so just ran a single dual on one side all the way out here, and he said it was a very interesting ride. Trailer was whipping a little bit from time to time, but he made it. Had some tires shipped out here from Texas, so he'll put those on the next couple days. And you can just see right there how slick it is. He's having problems just getting on the course. But the 4605, Albert Contreras on course, Jeep Thrills Off-Road. And he's the one that just brought out Lee O'Donnell's UTV for him, so Albert's a great name in the sport. Glad to see him out here racing. He's made every single race this year so far. Him and Mike Bergman are the only two to do that that I can think on top of my head. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist. I'll be with you all weekend long, all season long. You can see Albert just completely drifting those corners. Can't quite tell if his front end's pulling all the way or not. He's getting really loose in the ass end over there. So crossing the line should be Michael Justo. No, that was the 4620 Clarke with a 250. Great run, but 8 seconds off our pole position leader, Christopher D'Oria. So we got another one leaving the line in his Jeep JK. You can hear him grabbing a gear. That should be the 4698 of Justin Bainey. He's in the MBRP turn 1. Heading into the Holly EFI liftoff jump. And the stock guys won't get much air, but when the big boys, they'll hit the 4-wheel parts landing. Heading through Spider Track's turn as we speak. Just a perfect drift right there. Mud does make a lot of fun out there, but it makes for a terrible cleanup later. I heard lots of the drivers just shaking their head, not wanting to get out of there, but we'll see what happens. I did see Chris Summers. He was out of here, and he turned around and went home because of the weather. So Albert Contreras crossing the finish line. He could be on the pole unofficially with a 2:35.6. So if that sticks, Albert Contreras is on the pole. Great run by him. So these guys will get their cars back to camp, get them cleaned up, do a good nut bolt check tonight, get it rating. So up next will be the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. So crossing the line, Justin Bainey with a 2:39. That's only 4 seconds off Contreras, so a great run by him. So it looks like if everything stands the way it is, again, everything I do say is unofficial, but on the pole for the KMC Hard Charger as of right now is Albert Contreras with a 2:35.6. Behind him should be Justin Bainey. Well, the weather seems to be holding up pretty good. It looks like I see that's going to be taking off first. Looks like that should be Scott Decker, part of Miller Motorsports, part of the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. He's raced with us a few times. He's comes from short course, but he's very fast. Be fun to see what kind of time he can put down. So they should be, if they can run smooth, they should be sub 2 minutes. I guess some of the fast guys are going to be in that I'm going to say 130 range. So this is the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. It's wet, it's muddy, but we're still having fun. Sounds like that is Scott Decker off the line. The 8:19. And just see how much faster this is compared to the stock lines. Completely sideways, out of control, saves it in the MBRP sweep turn 1. He's going to hit the Holley EFI kicker jump. Launching, hits the 4-wheel parts landing. Goes into the Optima battery turn. Completely drifting sideways. Remember, smooth will be fast today. There are a few water holes out there. But Scott Decker looks like he's got a great run going. The track should only get better. So he just went off the Savvy Off-Road roller jump, heading into the Dirty Turtle whoop section. Making quick work back there. That guy's really flying. Scott Decker has a great run going as long as he doesn't loop out in one of these corners. Looks like up next is the 49.15. That should be Paul Kraut on course. He's heading towards the Holley EFI liftoff. Hitting the 4-wheel parts landing as we speak. Heading into axial corner. But coming on screen should be Scott Decker heading towards the start-finish line. There he is. He's still moving good, making that last corner. Crosses the line with an unofficial time of 1:47.3. Great, great run by Scott Decker. And that's with a slick track. Paul Kraut back in the Dirty Turtle whoop section. Off the line next could be Dustin Robbins. Looks like it is the 311 in his SR1 single seat UTV. He's making great time. Really drifting the corners nice. All over the throttle. Heading into Pro Comp corner. The track's really drying out for the most part pretty good on these corners, so the times could just get faster and faster. We'll see if Dustin Robbins can bump out Scott Decker. He's got a great run going. How great is it to have all these cameras out here? Huge shout out to the Hammer Keen production crew. There's a lot of technical behind the scenes stuff going. So Paul Kraut crosses with a 1:51, roughly 4 seconds behind Decker. So Scott Decker still on the pole spot for now for the KMC Hard Charger Award. Off next is the 902 Pat Murray in his Can-Am. And he did opt to get the narrower version when he did it, exactly for these wood sections. Patrick Murray blows the corner just a little bit, gets in the fluff. Back on course. So we should get a time for Dustin Robbins. New fast time, Dustin Robbins with a 1:38.06. So Dustin Robbins just shaved off roughly 9 seconds to be on the KMC Hard Charger pole position spot for now. He had a great, smooth, fast run. So there again, the times are getting faster. Off the line is a 1:18. Should be Jody Hickman. On course. So on screen is Jody Hickman in his UTV, part of the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. Patrick Murray crossing the finish line with an unofficial time of 1:57. So not too bad of a run for blowing that one corner and getting stuck in the slough for just a second. And it's hard to tell who's who, but this could be Kasey Shearer getting ready to take off. And that is Kasey Shearer in his Can-Am. When I took my sight lap with Jody Ford earlier, we came up on him. He was stuck in a little ravine, was winching out. It's going to be a tough day in the woods tomorrow if we get much more rain. But Kasey Shearer hitting the Holly EFI jump, hit the four-wheel parts landing, going into Griffin corner, drifting it completely out. Having a little bit of stumble there. That should be Jody Hickman crossing the KMC start-finish line with a 1:57.4, just a half a second off of Patrick Murray. But still in the KMC hard charger position is Dustin Robbins. We have another single seat taking off the line. That's John LaCroix. You've heard the LaCroix name. His son Cash LaCroix. He's like 11 or 12 years old and is in the rock bouncing scene and doing extremely well, so it's cool to see the whole family out here playing. Cash will be in the Big O dealership shootout tomorrow evening. So another great drift through the RCV corner. So Kasey Shearer heading towards this KMC start-finish line. We'll get a time on him soon. So an unofficial time of 1:48 for Kasey Shearer. That'll put him mid-pack so far. John LaCroix on course. Looks like up next should be Ross Pilgreen in the 111 machine. He's got a lot of ground clearance. He's running those portal axles. Kind of cool to see, a little different. So today's KMC Qualifier is setting up for tomorrow's 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. Just outside of Bedford, Kentucky, here at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. We've had quite a bit of rain, but I see a lot of blue sky out in the just west of us. Looks like Pilgreen blows the corner a little bit. And that's the second time I've heard a squeal out of that thing. He must have some kind of power steering. So John LaCroix crossing the KMC start-finish line with an unofficial time of 1:42.5, so great run. Just 4 seconds off Dustin Robbins' time. Our current KMC hard charger pole position, Dustin Robbins. In the 4600 Pro Comp stock class, I do believe it's still Albert Contreras. So off the line now, we have the 1905. That should be Sean Hollick. Sean Hollick heading towards the Holly EFI kicker. Getting great airtime, hitting the four-wheel parts landing just perfect. Coming in the corner a little bit hot, but makes it, drifting around Griffin corner. I'm glad the weather held up. Let us get this KMC qualifier in. Looks like Ross Pilgreen He should have an unofficial time of 1:50 for Ross Pilgreen. So off the line next, number 24, Colt Clarke, hot on course, heading into the MBRP turn 1. Heading towards the Holly EFI jump. Here it missing out a little bit. Not sure if something got wet or what's going on, but he's a little off pace. So the 1905 of Sean Hollick. With an unofficial time for Sean Hollick was 1:40.7. So we're seeing on screen number 24, Colt Clarke, having some issues. It's not running too great, so we'll hopefully be able to finish the qualifier and have a fairly rear start. But there could be a few people that either break or roll or not qualify at all. You do not have to qualify here. You can start from the back of the pack if you choose so. But I think with all the weather we're having, qualifying is going to play a huge factor in tomorrow's race. Next off the line should be the number 1917, Joey Beck. Another SR1, single seat. Those things are pretty cool. There's lots of visibility out of those. As he hits the Holly EFI kicker into the four-wheel parts landing. Heading into Tensor Tire corner. So number 24, Colt Clarke, still limping along. About to cross the KMC with a 2:48.14, so that'll be a rear start for him. Hopefully he can get back in the pits and figure out what his drivability issue is. But Joey Beck still running hard, running smooth, just cruising through the Dirty Turtle whoop section. Up next is the number 211, Michael Lee out of Alabama. Running his Gilbert Designs UTV. He's raced the entire four-wheel parts Eastern Series with us. Hitting the Holly EFI liftoff into the four-wheel parts landing. Heading into the Spider Tracks corner. So the number 1917 Joey Beck with an unofficial time of 1:46. Pretty decent run. But the KMC pole position holder as of now still is Dustin Robbins with that 1:38. Great shot of Michael Lee. Heading into the Savvy kicker into the Dirty Turtle off-road whoop section. .973 Chris Holland on course. Chris Holland heading into the Griffin corner. Remember, we are qualifying just on the short course today, but tomorrow we'll be racing the entire course with short course and the woods. It'll be a 5.3 mile race. Unless weather makes us change the course a little bit, time will tell. But here comes Michael Lee crossing the KMC start finish with an unofficial time of 1:55. Pretty decent run for him. That'll be mid-pack or so, maybe towards the front just a little bit. This is the third and final race for the 4 Wheel Parts Eastern Regional Series. Off the line next is the 4928 John Hall, getting a little bit crossed up at the start line. He's running a Can-Am. And for tomorrow's 5.3 mile race, it is on total corrected time, just like Oklahoma and Shamokin. So qualifying helps for sure to start towards the front of the pack, because tomorrow with the muddy conditions on some of these trails, lap traffic will become an issue. So if you can qualify well in today's KMC Hard Charger qualifying, will definitely help out a lot. So off the line, crossing the finish line, the 4973 with an unofficial time of 1:57 for Chris Holland. Don't forget to stay tuned in tomorrow night for the Big O dealership shootout, the SRRS versus Ultra 4. It's always a fun show to watch. Number 1, Brandon Davis taking off. He looked extremely fast when he hit the start line. Another great drone shot of John Hall, I believe. And again, these cars are getting muddier and muddier. It's harder to tell who's who. I'll do my best. So please be patient with me. So an unofficial time for John Hall in the 4928 is 1:59.8 in his Can-Am. So that should be a mid-pack run for him. The number 220, Travis Zollinger. Heading towards the Holly EFI liftoff. Getting some great air hitting the 4 Wheel Parts landing. Straight into the Fab School corner. So this should be a fairly quick time for Brandon Davis. He was making great time out there. Unofficial, 1:38.8. So Dustin Robbins is 1:38.06. And Brandon Davis was 1:38.8. So less than a second spreads them, but Dustin Robbins still on the pole for the KMC Hard Charger. But I could tell Brandon Davis was having a great run, so. Zollinger on course. Jacob Versey on course, heading through the Nitto corner. So Travis Zollinger with an unofficial time of 1:44.9. Pretty good run towards the front of the pack. So the 49.31 of Jacob Versey. So off the line, number 537, Michael Faltz. So the KMC Qualifier is hot and heavy under action as we speak. The times are getting quicker. Dustin Robbins with that 1:38.06 on the pole. So we still have a few UTVs to qualify for the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. So Jacob Versey with an unofficial time of 1:47.924. On course, the number 706, Chris Armstrong. JT Taylor's on course, making sure everything running smooth. He is our race director. The live drone shot, I believe, is Michael Faltz. This is setting up for tomorrow's 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass, just outside of Bedford, Kentucky, at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. Michael Faltz with a 2-minute flat. So on course, the number 1991, Evan Englehart. It was backfiring pretty good, not sure. It sounded like it was trying to clear out. Sounds like it finally did. It was loaded up just a little bit. But now Englehart's hot and heavy on the throttle, heading to the Holley EFI kicker. Hitting the four-wheel parts landing. Got some pretty good air there. So Englehart got it cleared out and is running hard. Heading through Griffin Corner. Great drone shot of Englehart as he's heading up towards the Savvy Off-Road Roller. So an unofficial time for Chris Armstrong is 1:58.218. Englehart's in the Dirty Turtle Whoop section. Heading downhill towards that really tight 180. Again, I love this live drone. Really gives perception on how everything's going. So out of Springfield, Missouri, number 2700, Justin Barth on course. Fairly local to myself. I'm just south of Kansas City in Paola, Kansas. Englehart on screen, making his way towards the KMC start-finish. There's Englehart right now, really making good time, hitting the KMC finish line with an unofficial time of 1:44.035. So if he wasn't cutting out at the beginning, he would have had a great run. So he'll start towards the front of the back. I'm going to say that's a top 10 or so. Sets him up pretty good for tomorrow. Hopefully he can keep it together. On screen is Justin Barth. There's James Cantrell, number 502 in that Mad Ram 11 UTV. He's out of Alabama. Another great guy in the sport. He used to race Ultra 4 with us and sold his car, but Cole Shirley with Mad Ram 11 put him in his turbo UTV, and he's out here racing with us. Great to see. Heading through MBRP turn as we speak. Hitting the Holly EFI liftoff. Cantrell really drifting the tensor tire corner there. Looking smooth, looking fast. Justin Barth coming over the start-finish line with an unofficial time of 1:55.386. It's a decent mid-pack run. Great drone shot of James Cantrell, the number 502 Mad Ram 11 UTV. And that's just a great shot to see how wet some of these corners still are. Looks like on course. Number 17. That should be Jay Shaw. Heading towards the Holly EFI liftoff. Hitting the four-wheel parts landing. Heading into the Nitto corner. Coming into screen, James Cantrell. He has a great run-in. We'll see if he can give Dustin Robbins a run for his money. James Cantrell with an unofficial time of 1:39.17, so right around 1 second off pace, so great run. That'll be a top 5 run for James Cantrell. But so far it still is Dustin Robbins on that KMC pole position. And it looks like Jay Shaw could possibly be our last UTV in the 4900 Can-Am class, so he's the only one last that could bump out Dustin Robbins. The KMC Hard Charger Award for the pole position. Each class does get reimbursed their entry fee for this race. So again, huge shout out to KMC for stepping up. That's for every single race this season. And they are the title sponsor of this weekend's KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. While we're thanking sponsors, we need to give another huge shout out to Laser Nut, our Western Series sponsor. They're making trophies for every single race. Looks like Jay Shaw with a new fast time, unofficial, of a 1:37.654. So Jay Shaw looks like he may have just bumped out Dustin Robbins. Again, everything I do say is unofficial until we get the final go from scoring, but I think Jay Shaw just bumped out Dustin Robbins by right around a half a second. Looks like another UTV is sneaking in to qualify, so he just barely made the cutoff. Looks like another Can-Am. We'll see if he can bump out Jay Shaw or not. He's on course, hitting the KMC start line as we speak. That's the 1481 of Chase Caprera. He did have front end issues. He blew up his front diff, so that's why he's a little bit late to the scene, but he apparently got his front diff. He borrowed one from the Zollinger crew and got her put in. And that is Brian Caprera's son. He usually co-drives for Brian, but he's out here racing this Can-Am with us. Pretty cool to see. Looks like he's got a pretty smooth and quick run. See if he can bump out Jay Shaw from that KMC pole position. So that is Chris Caprera on course in his Can-Am for the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. Heading towards the Savvy Off-Road roller into the Dirty Turtle Whoop section. Heading downhill to a very steep and very tight 180 corner. That'll be very interesting for the fast guys later on today. So KMC does step up and reimburse the pole position their entry fee, and then Ultra 4 steps up and gives them 7 points towards their national points for the pole position. So you really want to push hard in qualifying. Try to get that top spot. Chase is rounding his final corner. Car still looks good. Chase Capera with an unofficial time of 1:41. So that should be a top 5, maybe top 10 spot, but unofficially Jay Shaw in that KMC hard charger pole position. He joins Albert Contreras. So again, thank you everybody here on site and back at home for tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Tune into the King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit that share button. Do Ultra 4 Racing on our Instagram and Facebook. We really need everybody's help back home to share everything. That's how this sport keeps growing, and it's grown from 13 guys racing to this. So it's cool to see how far it's come, and we hope to get bigger and better every season. Looks like those are the 4500 Rubicon Express modified cars lined up. So we got a little break in the action. We'll thank some of our sponsors. 4 Wheel Parts for being our Eastern Series sponsor, Laser Nut for being our Western Series sponsor, and Nitto for being our National Championship sponsor. We also have Amada, Amsoil, Axial, Bestop, Can-Am, ESOB, Fab School, G2, Genrite, Griffin Radiator, HCR, Holly EFI, Jeep, King, KMC, Laser Nut, MBRP, Method, Monster Energy, Nitto Tire, Optima Battery, PCI Radio, ProComp, RCV, Renegade Fuel, they are on site. Reno Tahoe, Rigid Industries, Rubicon Express, Champa, Share My Coach, Savvy, Smitty Built, Spider Tracks, Squatchbox, Steal It. Steal It's on site. Pretty cool to see them out here. Tensor, US Gear, Warn, and Yukon Gear and Axle. So a huge shout out to all those guys. Please support who supports us. Without them, we would not be here. And I'll back up to Steal It. That's a coating that you can spray on a bare chassis, keep it clean, and you can weld right through it. So if you're in the middle of a big race and you see an issue, you don't have to clean off the paint. You can just weld right through it. So cool to have Steal It on board with us this year. I know Dave Cole ran that on his Baja Ultra 4 rig, and it seemed to be holding up extremely well. Daddy's Food is on site. We have some kettle corn out there. The Dirty Turtle has a general store with some drinks and whatnot. Our next race will be a Laser Nut Western Series race in Ridgecrest, California, August 11th and 12th on the Ridgecrest OHV land. It'll be our first time racing there. It's lots of desert. It'll be cool to see. I hear somebody taking off. I think that is John Grounds. Nope, that is Jeremy Purick, the number 4899. Like I said, these cars are already muddy from pre-running and whatnot. It's hard to tell them apart. I'll do my best. Everything I say is unofficial. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist. I'll be with you all season long. Heading into Griffin Corner right there. Drifting out, looking pretty good. This is the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. They have to have mechanical steering of some sort, single shock per corner, a maximum of a 37-inch DOT tire. Has to have 2 seats side by side. Solid axle up front. Looks like sitting on the start line should be Wimmer up next. The start line is extremely muddy. But so far, the Hammer King safety crew is keeping everybody moving, keep the action coming. Qualifying is now for the KMC Hard Charger qualifying. So that was Bob Wimmer that took off. On screen is Bob Wimmer, the 4864. So I do apologize. This is the 4800 G2 Legends class. But I do see some of the 4500 guys lined up. So Jeremy Purick, our first finisher, was 2:03.692. So on course, just taking off, the number 866, Sean Reisky. Getting a little slideways out there. He's pushing hard in the corners. Blew that one a little bit. Remember, smooth is fast on a slick track condition such as today. We have lucked out with weather all season long, so we were due for one, and here it is. But right now, there's no rain coming down. Track is slick and muddy, but they're racing. So Bob Wimmer with the number 4864 with a time of 2:14.266. So you're seeing on screen Sean Reisky just went through the Dirty Turtle whoop section. So the 4825, that is Michael London. He's fairly new to us. He has a really cool Bronco body on there, and it looked extremely good on the trailer when he pulled in, but as you can see, everybody's going to be muddy. So Sean Reisky, number 866 with a 156.655. So he is on the pole for the 4800 G2 Legends class as of now for that Hard Charger KMC award. On course is Kasey Gilbert. He is one of our faster 4800 G2 Legends class. He's leading the points, I do believe. He was up here talking earlier. It's muddy, but he's going to be pushing towards the front. As long as his car's still moving to after tomorrow's race, he's going to race the 4400 class as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how he stands against the 4400 guys. Oftentimes his qualifying times not too far off pace. He's got a little bit limited suspension, a little bit limited tires, but he's still running right around that 700 horse. Kasey Gilbert's extremely fast in these tight wood sections, so it'll be fun to see him tomorrow. So 48.25, Michael London with an unofficial time of 2:28.256. Still Sean Reisky on the pole position. Off the line next, the number 207. Jib Widmer. He's racing a Trent Fab machine. Hitting the Holly FI lift, hitting into the four-wheel parts landing. Kasey Gilbert coming in hot. He's going to have a very fast time. He's running fast, running smooth, putting that Miller Motorsports chassis to work. Kasey Gilbert with an unofficial time of 1:53.057, our new KMC hard charger pole position for the 4800 G2 Legends class. Kasey Gilbert. Again, everything I do say is unofficial, but Kasey Gilbert with a very, very fast run. Well, Cam, you just saw your brother run pretty good. What'd you think of his run? He looked fast. He looked smooth.
Yeah, hopefully he can hold it together in the mud tomorrow. It's supposed to rain all night, so we'll see how he does.
Well, I just saw you getting ready to take off. Wanted to holler at you. On course, the 4807 should be Cade Rod. Part of Jimmy's 4x4. I'm sure Randy Rod's tuned in right now. He couldn't make it out this weekend, but most of the Jimmy's Army's out here in full force. Cade had a great run in Oklahoma. He's proven to be one of the fast young guns in the sport. Pushing a little bit hard, getting off into the soup a little bit on that little corner. So Jib Widmer with a 2:06.714 in his Trent Fab machine. Cade Rod cruising through the Dirty Turtle Whoop section, pushing his Jimmy's chassis to the max, running the Nitto tires. On course now, taking off the number 8100, Mike DeVore. So Kasey Gilbert is on the pole position for the KMC hard charger with a 1:53.057. Cade Rod's having a great run, but he's missed a couple corners just a little bit. He's pushing all the way to the finish line. We'll see what kind of time Cade Rod can get. Really hugging that corner close. I'm sure Cotton's at home watching. Unofficial time is 1:45.910. So just bumped out Kasey Gilbert by 8 seconds. Cade Rod really threw down a great run. That was even with missing a couple corners, but the pole position, 1:45.910 for Cade Rod. What a smoking run. So unofficially, Cade just bumped out Kasey Gilbert for that KMC hard charger pole position. Looks like up next, sitting on the start line, is Jody Ford. But I think Mike DeVore is having issues on course. Looks like JT Taylor's heading down to address the situation. That is the 8100 of Mike DeVore. So the Hammer King safety crew is out there checking things out. A lot of these guys are volunteers, so give a huge high five, a huge handshake to anybody in a orange vest. They're out here working their tail off, making sure everything's running smooth. So today is the KMC Qualifier for tomorrow's 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. It's rained quite a bit. The mud is thick, but we're racing. Nitto Tire is here on site along with Renegade Race Fuels. Steelit's here. So if you go check out their little booth, thank them for making the trek out. Tomorrow's race is, as long as the weather doesn't, we don't have to adjust the racetrack for tomorrow, we'll see. But it is a 5.3 mile course on adjusted time. That is just like the Oklahoma and Shamokin race. This is the 4-Wheel Parts Eastern Regional Series. Next month we head out to Ridgecrest for the Lasernut Western Regional Series. This is the last race today, or this weekend is the last race for the 4-Wheel Parts Eastern Series. Next month at Ridgecrest will be the last race for the for the Lasernut Western Series race. Tomorrow evening after the racing is done, please stay tuned in. It'll be the Big O dealership sponsoring the shootout, the SRRS versus Ultra 4. Last year it was a lot of fun. We'll see how those steep hill climbs in the mud will be. Again, I saw Tim Cameron out here with his buggy. He'll be ready to hit it. He's a fan favorite to a lot of the rock bouncer crowd. If weather holds up, we will have the first ever Kids Cup in 170s. You have to be 12 years old or younger to race with them. So I really hope to see those out there. Back home, we've been racing those with our local series. We just had a race, and it was a lot of fun to see the kids out there and the dads out there coaching them and stuff. It's really cool to see. Help growing the sport. And don't forget the Nitto National Championship will be October 20th and 21st, just outside of Reno, Nevada at the Wild West Motorsports Park. Do not miss that one. If you can't make it out there, be sure to tune in, ultra4racing.com/live. Hit the King of the Hammers Facebook, Ultra 4 Racing Facebook. Hit the Instagram, share, hashtag, all that good jazz. So speaking of the Nitto National Championship, you have to have 3 of your best races, whether it's east or west, along with King of the Hammers and the National Championship. So 5 races total will make up for the National Championship. And then there's 3 west, 3 east, because remember, Oklahoma was east and west. So that'll make up the Lasernut Western Series champ and the 4-Wheel Parts Eastern Series champ. And then it goes into the Nitto National Championship. So this will be interesting to see how that sets up. Because remember, it can be any 3 of the races. So there will be 5 total races. So if you race every single race with us, you can drop 2 of your races for the Nitto National Championship. On site is Daddy's. They've been feeding us all season long. They keep us happy. Thanks, huge shout out to them for chasing us around the country. There's a lot of logistics that go into it. Off the line, Jody Ford, 4860. I was lucky enough to take a spin with him this morning, his UTV, to take a sight lap. We tried to shoot a little bit of video of it. Hopefully we can get that dropped in for tomorrow's race. Pretty cool to see. But it was really great to see the entire course. 5.3 miles of a lot of wood action. Jody Ford absolutely launches over the Holly EFI jump. Gets a little sideways, gets turned around. Is he going to get back on course? He does. Gets off course just a tick, but was able to save it without putting it in reverse. Remember, smooth is fast. It's slick out there. He's trying to chase down Cade Rod's time of 1:45.910. I believe Kasey Gilbert should be in second with that 1:53.057. Behind him is Sean Reisky. But on course, Jody Ford, part of the 4800 G2 Legends class. Looks like that's the 4894 of Rick Levezzo. He's part of Jack Racing. He's teamed up with Jimmy Jack. He's running a bomber chassis. And he spins her around in the MBRP corner, pushing a little bit too hard, but was able to get her back on course relatively quick, hitting the Holly EFI launch, landing on the four-wheel part landing, heading to Axle corner, goes a little bit wide. Crossing the line as we speak will be Jody Ford with an unofficial time of 1:53.726. So just a half a second off of Kasey Gilbert pushes Jody Ford into third place for today's KMC qualifier. So great run for Jody Ford. And remember, that was with him blowing that corner down there a little bit and getting off course. So he really pushed to save some time. But on course is Rick Levezzo in his bomber chassis, getting the Savvy off-road roller, heading into the Dirty Turtle whoop section. Jonathan Terhune, number 890, part of Team Indiana, hot on course. He's always fun to hang out with at these races. He's part of Team Indiana, which is also with Brannick Motorsports. They will be providing dinner. They got a little hot dog dinner for all the racers tonight, so huge shout out to Brannick for putting that on. That'll be directly after the drivers meeting tonight at 7 o'clock. Terhune getting a little off course, blowing that corner just a tick, but still putting good time down. Rick Levezzo with a time of 2:22.403 just crossed the KMC wheels finish line. And he was all over the track, and I could see his steering wheel was so muddy it was slipping in his hands. So that's a little issue he had while he was all over the course. But on screen is Jonathan Terhune, still pushing hard, making a pretty good run. Part of the 4800 G2 Legends class. But it still is Cade Rod on that KMC pole for the Hard Charger Award. If he sticks there, KMC will reimburse his entry fee. And he is a KMC sponsored driver, if I'm not mistaken. Great shot of Jonathan Terhune heading towards the finish line with an unofficial time of 1:49.604. So just 4 seconds off. He had a great run. That'll put him towards the front of the pack. Top 5 for sure. So if the standings do stay the way they are, and remember everything I say is unofficial, it is Cade Rod in that KMC hard charger pole position. Looks like we're getting lined up for the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. And then after that, we'll do the 4400 Unlimited Big Boys. That'll be fun to see. They'll have the best track of the day, and they're going to be fast. But remember, the track is still extremely slick. Smooth will be fast. What a great day it's been for the KMC Qualifier. So pole position so far for the KMC Hard Charger, Albert Contreras in the 4600 the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, Jay Shaw in the 4900 UTV class, Can-Am, and Cade Rod in the 4800 G2 Legends class. All three of those guys are sitting on the pole position. As long as everything stands, we'll get everything official this evening. It rained a lot overnight. Then we got here, everything was okay. Another batch of rain came through. It left. We got out on the track for practice. It was getting fast out there. I saw Waylon Campbell coming towards that finish line, absolutely flying around that corner. The track was getting good. More rain moved in just before qualifying. Looks like off the line first will be Sean Rance Sr., the number 4531, to kick off the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. This is another fun class to watch. Looks like sitting patiently on the line will be Jimmy Jack, taking off next. But on screen is Sean Rance Sr., the 4531. Sean Rand Sr. hitting the Savvy Off-Road roller into the Dirty Turtle whoop section. So they should be sending off Jimmy Jack anytime. And I hear his motor taking off. Jimmy Jack's on course, powered by 208 Motorsports and Nitto tires. His fiancee Amy riding with him. It's a lot of fun to see those guys in the car. They have a lot of fun with it. You can hear that motor ripping. He's running good. Heading towards that Holly EFI lift jump. Hitting the four-wheel parts landing. Heading into Nitto corner. Jimmy Jack's a little off to the side, getting sucked into that deep mud section, so that'll take a little bit of time off his run. Sean Rance Sr. gets a time of 1:54.483, so that is the time to beat for the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class. This is qualifying for the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. I see Brocky taking off the line. That's Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s car, but it is driven by his co-driver. Lee O'Donnell will be his co-driver during the race tomorrow. Brocky hitting the Holly EFI liftoff, hitting the four-wheel parts landing, heading into the Griffin corner. Really driving well for not having much seat time. He spends most of his time in the right seat, so it's cool to see him being able to drive it, and he's looking pretty smooth out there. Vaughn Gittin Jr. is heavily into the drift. So Jimmy Jack, speaking of Nitto tires, clipping a tire after the finish line with a 1:57.140, so that puts him currently in second place. It's a very smooth run for Jimmy Jack. So heading off now, looks like it should be John Grounds. And it is Daystar Powered Machine 4570. John Grounds, he comes from the West Coast. Cool to see him making the trek out here. He came to Shamokin, went to Oklahoma, and now Kentucky, running the full series with us. And that Daystar Powered Jeep, when it's not dirty, that's a very sharp looking rig. Here comes Vaughn Gittin's car towards the finish line, getting a little bit off track, getting into the slop. Should be a very fast run. A new pole position. Eric Davis driving for Vaughn Gittin Jr., setting the KMC pole position for the hard charger with a 1:51.440. So a good run for Eric Davis. So on course, just taking off, the 4566 Dustin Friesen. That's another Trent Fab built machine. Heading into Griffin corner. Drifting it out pretty good. Gets a little wide there. That's where you lose time when you get in the slop. And there's a lot of it out there. Dustin Friesen on screen. But coming towards the start-finish line, John Grounds with an unofficial time of 1:56.681. Very smooth run, should put a mid-pack. Daystar Powered Machine. It is still extremely slick out here. Number 26, Dwayne Garrettson, taking off. He was all over the track because at the start line it's extremely sloppy. So if you get offline just a tick, he was getting a little sideways. Great shot of Dwayne Garrettson heading towards King Corner. And on the back of the screen we have Dustin Friesen in his Trent Fab machine heading towards the KMC finish line with an unofficial time of 1:57.92. So that just bumped out Eric Davis out of the KMC hard charger position. Dustin Friesen. Great run for him. 1:57.92. Unofficially in the KMC pole position. On course is Dwayne Garrettson hitting the Dirty Turtle whoop section. After he rolled through the Savvy off-road roller. On course, a crowd favorite, the 4510, Matt Howell. I believe he's won the national championship the last 2 years in the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. He's pushing his Tribe machine to the limits, skying out at the Holly EFI liftoff. Gets a little sideways in Pro Comp corner. But still pushing hard. Great drone footage from our Hammer King production crew. Again, these guys do such an amazing job. Behind the scenes, there's so much to go on. We're out in the middle of nowhere with a live show, live drones, so cool to see. Tomorrow we'll have a few cameras out in the woods as well. So Dwayne Garrettson with an unofficial time of 2:03.015. That's a pretty smooth run for him. On course, hitting the Dirty Turtle whoop section, Matt Howell. He's been to every race so far this season with us. The 45-17, Jesse Oliver just taking the green flag for the Kmc Qualifier. Remember, this is setting everything up for tomorrow's 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. It's muddy. It's been raining a lot. They're calling for more rain tonight. It's going to set up for a very interesting day of racing. Jesse Oliver still pushing hard. There's Matt Howell coming towards the KMC finish line. Has a very smooth corner. We'll see what kind of run Matt Howell gets with a 1:51.766. So 1 second off Dustin Friesen. Great run by Matt Howell. Tribe 16. So Dustin Friesen, you're still in that KMC hard charger spot. You came up here, you're just asking how'd Matt Howell do, because you guys battled out pretty good out there, but so far you're still in that position. How you feeling?
Oh, this is great, man. First over Vaughn, maybe, hopefully too.
Now, you're over Vaughn, so you're in the pole position so far today, so it'd be a interesting day to set up for tomorrow. How was the track? It looks muddy.
Oh, it's greasy. It's so, it's all you can do is hope for the best. Pin it to win it.
So how did the Trent Fab machine do out there for you? I mean, obviously you're sitting in that pole position, so again, I keep saying smooth is fast, but you still have to push it. How hard do you push it?
You know the history on that car. I'm 4-0 this year, so 4 wins, 0 losses. I want to make it 5-0, so I'm going to be pushing it hard.
Well,
that car is solid, man, all day long.
Well, it's going to be an interesting day because we're calling for more rain tonight. You went out pre-running this morning, I'm sure. It's greasy back there.
I haven't ran the bush once. Like, I'm from Canada, so I came here, ran the short track, and hope for the best tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I took a sight lap this morning, and there's a few steep hills. You get to the top, and you start going down, you hit the brakes and slide to the bottom. So it's going to be interesting, but you're sitting in that pole position. Best of luck to you, man.
Thanks, Miles.
Dustin Friesen currently sitting in that KMC pole position. Great little chat with him. We just sent out Rob Matzel. Jesse Oliver finished up with a 2:11.505. So it looks like we're about to round up the 4,500 Rubicon Express Modified class. I see Wayland Campbell, last year's winner, getting lined up. Campbell Enterprises, Monster Energy, Nitto Tire sponsored driver. He won the national championship last year. In practice this morning, that guy was absolutely flying. He's going to be fun to watch. But still hot on course, Rob Matzel. He will get an unofficial time of 2:04. So it looks like if the standings stay the way they are, unofficially Dustin Friesen in that KMC hard charger. And it's cool, he comes all the way from Canada and throws down a great lap. But again, he just said he hasn't seen the woods yet, so tomorrow's going to be interesting. Well, so far, so good. Today's KMC qualifier has been great. The KMC hard charger, if it stands the way I've got my standings, it's Jay Shaw in the 4900 Km Utv class, Albert Contreras in the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, Cade Rod in the 4800 G2 Legends class, and Dustin Friesen in the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class. So a great shout out to those guys, and a huge shout out to KMC Wheels for reimbursing those guys their entry fee for tomorrow's race and being our title sponsor for tomorrow's 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. Wayland Campbell sitting there patiently awaiting, last year's winner here in Kentucky. Again, they're on our lower right. Please share everything. Hit ultra4racing.com/live. Ultra4 Racing Facebook, King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit the Twitter, do the share, do the hashtags. Let's blow the social media up with this weekend's race. There's a lot of people at home that think it's no fun out here. I'm having a blast. But I'm also not getting muddy. So as I said, hit that share button right now. We're getting ready to kick off the 4,400 Unlimited class. Off first is going to be last year's winner, Wayland Campbell, one of the young guns in our sport. He's a blast to watch. This guy's young. He's fast. He's not scared. He's going to be pushing all the way. I hear him getting fired up, cleaning out the engine, patiently awaiting. And remember, the track has changed tremendously since they're out here on practice. It's pretty greasy out there, so again, smooth is fast, but you want to push hard to start towards the front. But the last 2 years, Eric Miller has qualified poorly and has been on the podium the last 2 years, so it doesn't necessarily mean you can't win from the back, but it just makes it for a long day of racing. And it's not too shabby to have your entry fee reimbursed by KMC. Tomorrow's race course is 5.3 miles of short course and woods racing. It will be on adjusted time, just like the Oklahoma and Shamokin, and King of the Hammers for that fact. We do a lot of the physical finish on the short course because you can see everything. This way it keeps everybody a little bit more honest. I see Shannon Campbell down there. He's waiting for Waylon to take off. He did not bring his car, didn't have his motor in time, but he's still out here supporting his son and his daughter. He is our only 3-time winning Nitto King of the Hammers racer. We're just getting our last little safety check on the course. The Hammer King safety crew's getting ready to give the green light. We will be live qualifying here shortly for today's KMC Qualifier. Waylon's heavily sponsored by Monster Energy and Nitto Tire and that Campbell Enterprise chassis. And we'll see if the Campbells can shake up the Manufacturers Cup. Right now, Miller Motorsports is leading by 3 points, but the Campbells have roughly 5 cars, I believe. Miller has roughly 5 cars out here, so it'll be interesting if they can shake that up tomorrow. But Waylon Campbell, hot on course. Number 3, out of Arizona. Heading into MBRP corner. Throwing it in there deep. Getting a little wide, getting in the slop just a tick. But he'll be in full sin mode, heading towards the Holly EFI liftoff, getting some great air time, hitting the 4-wheel parts landing, heading into Spider Tracks corner. Full drift, great driving by Waylon. So far, Waylon's having a great run, getting a little wide once again. The track is still slick, but he's pushing hard. Nitto Tire's still putting down some traction. Heading towards the Savvy off-road roller section, into the Dirty Turtle Whoop section. Clearing that little roller right out the front. Having a great run. Off the line next. Looks like should be 320 Jeff Brown and his Miller Motorsports chassis. So Waylon on course first with his IFS. Jeff Brown off second with his solid axle. It'll be interesting to see. Jeff Brown spins her around a little bit, puts her in reverse. Tough break for him. Never even stops, keep on moving. That'll cost him some seconds. Waylon Campbell really sending it around this last corner. All over the throttle. This is going to be a fast run. This will be sub 130s. Waylon Campbell with an unofficial time of 1:37.966. That is the time to beat. 1:37.966. Waylon Campbell. Jeff Brown still on course. Hitting the Savvy off-road roller. Right into the Dirty Turtle Whoop section. There's still rain in the area, but it is not raining as we speak. Hasn't rained since we started qualifying. Jeff Brown and his Miller Motorsports chassis. Still pushing hard. Off the line next, the number 553, Daryl Krebbach. Daryl's running his solid axle machine, heading towards the Holly EFI launch. Getting a little nose heavy on there, but still pushing hard. Heading into the Steal It corner. Jeff Brown still pushing hard. So even with his little spin out, the number 320 Jeff Brown with a 1:50.807. So for having to back up, that's still a respectable time. But Waylon Campbell still sitting in that KMC hard charger position with that 1:37.966. Looks like Daryl's having a little bit of issue, got spun around. We did have to push qualifying back a little bit due to a weather delay. Then we put all the cars out there for a few parade laps, getting the top blown off. And qualifying's definitely been slick, but these guys are really throwing down some great times. Daryl hitting the Dirty Turtle Whoop section. Off the line next, I believe that's going to be the 306 of Michael Ariesman. Another straight axle. Heading into the MBRP 180. Hitting the Holly EFI liftoff. Heading into RCV corner. Michael Ariesman's really looking smooth out there, pushing hard. Be interesting to see his time. Looks like Daryl's crossing the finish line. Number 553 with a 2:15.638 with his little hiccup he had. But Michael Ariesman on course, pushing hard. Just made it through the Dirty Turtle Whoop section. Looks like next on course should be the 44.8 Stan Haynes, Mr. Brannick Motorsports himself. He's sponsoring the team dinner tonight, so thank you, Brannick Motorsports, for that. He's been racing since the beginning. I've raced with him back in the XRRA days. Addition to the sport, Stan Haynes. 08. Gets a little bit wide into Pro Comp corner, but keeps her under control. Let's see what kind of time Michael Ariesman has. He's been running smooth and fast this whole lap. 1:2.445. So currently in second. So muddy, I can't tell if it's Porterfield or in his fairly new Jimmy's IFS chassis. Gets a little Up next, Mr. Disco Derek West, number 20, Ditto sponsored machine, part of Jimmy's Army. This kind of track is exactly what makes Derek West shine. The tight woods. He's not scared of the mud. He's been King of the Hammers multiple times. He's been racing off-road for a long time. Smooth and consistent is what he does. Clay Gilstrap. All the way to the finish line. Clay Gilstrap just off Eric Miller's pace. 1:36.728. So I believe that puts him in that second position, if I'm not mistaken. So great run. Clay Gilstrap with that 1:36.728. Still Eric Miller in the KMC hard charger position with a 1:35.444. So on course next is the 4.56 Chad Hunt. Chad Hunt's part of the Brannick Motorsports crew. He'll be helping cook some hot dogs tonight. Up next is the wide open design built chassis field. On screen we're watching Disco Derek West has a great last corner. This is going to be another very fast time. Derek West with an unofficial time. A new fast time. Derek West pulls out the KMC hard charger spot. Bumps out Eric Miller with a 1:33.177. Great job, Disco Derek West. So the Team Nitto's doing very well on the top. So far right now, as it stands, I believe it's Derek West, Eric Miller, Clay Gilstrap, Bailey Campbell, and Waylon Campbell rounding out the top 5. On the course now, Kevin Porterfield, that wide open design IFS built machine. Another work of art that's out here. Love seeing this chassis work. So this is qualifying for the KMC hard charger qualifying spot. They are stepping up and reimbursing the top position in each class their entry fee. So huge shout out to KMC for that and being the title sponsor for this weekend's 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. Chad Hunt with an unofficial time of 1:52.754. Another smooth run. He'll be happy with that. So again, our KMC pole position is Derek West, followed by Eric Miller, Clay Gilstrap, Bailey Campbell, and Waylon Campbell rounding out the top 5 for today's KMC qualifier. So number 1 and 2 are straight axle, 3, 4, and 5 are IFS. It'll be interesting to see. On course now, Marcos Gomez and his Ugly Duck. The UFO built machine by Joe Thompson. IFS IRS Nitto tire sponsored machine. Part of Gomez Brothers Racing. Kevin Porterfield still pushing hard. That last corner is getting slicker and slicker. Kevin Porterfield unofficially 1:46.266. We still have another dozen cars or so to run. So Marcos Gomez out on course, taking off the line. George Schooley, number 42. And his Miller Motorsports chassis. He actually let Eric Miller run that car in the Nationals last year. Great to see the team really helping everybody out. So Marcos Gomez heading towards the finish line. George Schooley still hot on course. Marcos Gomez with an unofficial time of 1:44.935. He'll be happy with that. George Schooley may have just looped out. Nope, he's still going. He got real sideways, was able to save it. This course is slick. Remember, smooth is fast out here with this slick conditions. Up next should be Chris May, the number 725. On course, Chris May. He's been racing with us for a very long time. Great to see him out here. He goes into the MBRP corner hot and then just completely lost power or something, but back underway. Not sure what happened. He's hitting the Holly EFI launch and completely sends it. Heading into the PCI radio corner. Chris May lost a couple seconds. It's starting to sprinkle just a tick once again. George Schooley completely sideways with an unofficial time of 1:48.719. So it'll be a mid-pack start for George Schooley. So Derek West with that 1:33.177, fastest lap of the day. Seeing that KMC hard charger position. I was talking to him yesterday, and he was excited for this race. This is where he shines, so Derek West proved it. Hot on course, the number 618. So on course to number 618. So the 618 is Kasey Gilbert. He was running earlier in the 4800 G2 Legends class. As long as the car's still together, Gilbert's going to be racing with us in the 4400 class. So cool to see him stepping up. So while I was chatting, Chris May just crossed the finish line with a 1:36.298. So a smoking fast run for him. And remember, he lost his engine for a couple seconds, so to shave that off, he's running up top. So great run for Chris May. So hot on course, the Happy Pappy, Rusty Bleiler, Big B Motorsports, driving that Miller Pro chassis. He races a lot back home in the Line Mountain Series, doing very well in that. This is his first year with us racing. His first race ever was King of the Hammers this year and finished, so he's here to stay. So Kasey Gilbert, 618, with his 4400 qualifying run with an unofficial time of 1:39.304. And remember, that's a 4800 G2 Legends car running that fast up front, so it'll be interesting to see how he pans out tomorrow as long as that car stays together in his first race. It's going to be a long day for Kasey Gilbert. I believe Ross Pilgrim plans to do the same thing in his UTV, because UTVs meet all the rules for 4400. So number 47, I believe that's Philip McJilton on course. So when Chris May killed up there in MBR corner, he had a soft shackle come down and hit his kill switch. So that's what killed his motor, but he got it fired up and still had a great run. So Rusty Bleiler getting a little wide there at the end, but a very respectable run for the Happy Pappy. Rusty Bleiler, 1:37.345 in his Miller Motorsports chassis. So the top two, Derek West and Eric Miller running straight axle. Then it goes to Clay Gilstrap, Bailey Campbell, and Waylon Campbell rounding out the top five. Those three are in IFS, but up next, Jeff McCullough with All South. That's Bill Baird's old machine. Number 12, Jeff McCullough, hot on course. Love the way that thing sounds with that 8-into-1 header. He's running through the MBRP corner, heading up to the Holly EFI liftoff, hitting the four-wheel parts landing. Heading into RCV corner. He's got a great run going. Jeff McCullough's running smooth. There's Philip McGilton on screen. Having a smooth run, but Jeff McCullough is smoking out there. So Philip McGilton with an unofficial time of 1:51.295. He'll be happy with that. That'll be mid-pack. And the finish line's getting slicker and slicker. People keep sliding off course. Off the line right now is Brian Caprera and his two-seat Campbell chassis. He's on the throttle hard trying to get a fast qualifying run. On screen, Jeff with All South, number 12. Still having a smooth and fast run. Our live drone's chasing him down. Our drone pilots have been busy today. Thanks again to all the King of the Hammers production crew. Jeff McCullough with All South with an extremely fast run. Just bumped out Derek West by a tenth of a second. 1:33.078. Jeff McCullough, our new KMC hard charger, unofficially 1:33.078. Derek West had a time of So now it's Josh Bleiler on course. Rusty's son, Big B Motorsports, and his Miller Motorsports chassis. Another Nitto Tire sponsored driver. Josh Bleiler, he's kind of quiet, but boy, that guy can drive. Brian Caprera crossing the line with an unofficial time of 1:34.762, so that top five's getting shaken up. So Jeff McCullough 1, Derek West 2, Eric Miller 3, I believe. Brian Caprera should be in that 4 spot. Clay Gilstrap up there. Bailey and Whalen still in the top 10 for sure, but it's getting shaken up. Up next, another fun guy to watch, Raul Gomez. Another UFO single-seat IFS machine. Josh Bleiler having a very smooth Miller Pro chassis. Josh Bleiler, unofficial time of 1:35.490. So another second splitting two. Looks like we have about 4 more cars to go for today's KMC Qualifier. Getting everything set up for tomorrow's 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass, just here in Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. Raul Gomez, hot on course. I saw them have a whole load of brand new Nitto tires with their trailer. Raul Gomez hitting the Holly EFI liftoff, landing on the 4-wheel parts landing, heading into Optima Batteries corner. Raul still pushing hard. He wants a good start. He was running on corrected time in Oklahoma at one point. He was in the lead and then had a brake issue. Can't remember what happened, but he broke and was unable to finish. So he's out for a little bit of redemption. Part of Gomez Brothers Racing. Driving that UFO single-seat Joe Thompson built machine. The track is still extremely slick out there. They're still calling for more rain tonight, so it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. We'll have the UTV 4900 Can-Am class kick off in the morning at 10 a.m., weather pending. Then we'll have the limited races. We're hopefully going to throw in the Kids Cup, the 170 race, and then the Unlimited boys. So Raul hot on the throttle all the way to the KMC finish line with an unofficial time of 1:39.164. That'll be better than mid-pack, I believe, but there's a lot of fast guys in these last few runs. Jeff McCullough, I believe, is still on the KMC hard charger pole with All South and Bill Baird's old machine. I see Levi Shirley and Jason Shipman yet to come. So the 4469, Brian Ziegler, hot on course for his KMC qualifying run. Another straight axle machine. Brian having a pretty smooth run. Sounds like he's got a supercharger on that unit. You can hear it blowing off a little bit. He's really running hard. And on the line next, out of Dodge City, Kansas, number 81, Levi Shirley and his Campbell Enterprise machine. Looked like he was having a little bit of issues with his car at the start line, but got it going, and he's here to qualify. I believe he came in third place at last year's battle in the Bluegrass. It was Wayland 1, Miller 2, and Levi 3, if I'm not mistaken, last year. And both Wayland and Miller are way up front. We'll see if Levi can get with them or not. And remember, the last 2 years, Eric Miller started from the back of the pack and still made the podium. So with him being that far out front, he's got a good day ahead of him. But again, everything could change tonight. Depends on the weather. We've had a lot of rain already. I took my sight lap this morning with Jody Ford, and it's going to be interesting. It was tough this morning. We've already got more rain since then and possibly more tonight. So that racetrack back in the woods could get interesting. There was a few times we'd start going down a steep hill, hit the brakes, and just follow the ruts all the way to the bottom. So Brian Ziegler having some issues on course. He's upside down, so tough break for him. So we got a little break in the action. We need to thank some of our sponsors. 4 Wheel Parts for being our Eastern Regional Series sponsor. Laser Nut for being our Western Series regional sponsor. Amada, Amsoil, Axial, Best Top, Can-Am, ESOB, Fab School for being the Manufacturers Cup. G2, Genrite, Griffin Radiator, HCR, Holly EFI, Jeep, King, KMC, Laser Nut, MBRP, Method, Monster, Nitto, Optima Batteries, PCI Radio, ProComp, RCV, Renegade Race Fuel, Reno Tahoe, Rigid Industries, Rubicon Express, Champa, Share My Coach, Savvy, Smittybilt, Spider Tracks, Squatchbox, Steal It, Tensor, US Gear, Warren, and Yukon. So a huge shout out to all those guys for helping us out. Without them, we would not be racing here today. So please support who supports us. Give those guys a little bit of love. Get on the King of the Hammers Facebook, Instagram, ultra4racing.com/live. Hit the share button. Do all the hashtags. Let's blow this weekend up. It may be a muddy race, but it's going to be a fun one. So be sure to tune in. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your cousins. Ultra 4 has grown a tremendous amount, and it's still got a lot of traction. So thanks for all our fans back home, all over the world. Been racing overseas quite a bit with the Ultra 4 Europe Series. Our Hammer King safety crew is still out there recovering Brian. And it's so muddy, they're having a little bit of difficulty getting them over, but we'll get them back righted and get qualifying wrapped up. Jeff McCullough with Owl South is in that KMC pole position as it stands, but we'll see. A couple more to go. It's Jay Shaw in the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. Albert Contreras in the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class. Cade Rod in the 4800 G2 Legends class, and Dustin Friesen in the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class, sitting in that KMC Hard Charger Award spot in that pole position. KMC has stepped up all season long to reimburse all those guys for their entry fee for this weekend's race. So, again, huge shout out to KMC Wheels for stepping up all season long and for this Four Wheel Parts Eastern Series race. This is the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. It's wet, it's muddy, but we're having fun.
Swung up and hit the kill switch. That's why I got on.
So again, Nitto Tire is on site with their hauler, parked over by the Renegade Race Fuel. Renegade's brought race fuel. If you sign up, they'll bring race fuel on site to every race this year. So pretty cool for Renegade to step up this year. Great to have them out here. Tomorrow's race, if weather lets us, is a 5.3 mile course. It is on adjusted time, like the Oklahoma and Shamokin race. And then after that is the Big O dealership shootout. The SRRS guys are out here. We have a few of our Ultra 4 guys that are going to give it a run. It's a crowd pleaser for sure. There's a couple hills out back, and they just bottom to top. Quickest one gets the money. We're hoping to get the first ever Kids Cup. You have to be 12 years or under, racing the 170 class. Cool to see that. We've been racing those back home a little bit for the KCORRA, and the kids are a lot of fun to watch, and it's even a lot of fun to watch. So amped up, coaching their kids, and you know that's how you start. You start them young and get them racing, and that's how we're growing our sport. This is our final race for the Four Wheel Parts Eastern Regional Championship. Next up will be our last race for the Lasernut Western Series at Ridgecrest, August 11th and 12th. And that'll throw us right into the Nitto National Championship, October 20th and 21st, just outside of Reno, Nevada at the Wild West Motorsports Park. Last year was my first time going to that race, and it's awesome to see in person. So if you can get up to the Reno Tahoe area, make a weekend out of it. Make a week of it. Racing, go up in the mountains, check out Lake Tahoe. It's a beautiful part of the country. On site, we have Daddy's Food. They've been feeding us all season long, so a huge shout out to those guys for keeping us fed. They've got great food, so be sure to get a cold drink and something to eat from those guys. They'll be here all weekend long. Dirty Turtle's also selling kettle corn. They've got their own food vendor. They've got their general store. They've got some UTV parts in there. They've got T-shirts, cold drinks, ice. And we still have the Nitto Triple Crown going off, and that's the King of the Hammers, the Mint 400 in Crandon, which is coming up soon. Jason Shearer, who won King of the Hammers this year, is in the lead, followed by Paul Horschel that won the Mint 400, so it'll all shake down in Crandon. There's a lot of money on the wire. It'll be very interesting to see how that shakes out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We still have the Fab School Manufacturers Cup. Miller Motorsports is in the lead by 3 points, and I think we have roughly 5 Miller Campbell chassis out there racing. We'll see how that changes things. Jimmy's Army's still out there. We have quite a few of the West Coast guys that came out. The Campbells, Caprera, Gomez, Kasey Shearer, Jason Blanton. So it's cool to see those guys take the trek cross country and come racing with us here in Kentucky. Albert Contreras comes from Compton. He's in the 4600 Pro Comp stock class. He's raced, him and Mike Bergman, I believe, there could be another one or two, but those two have definitely maced every single race this season, so that's a commitment. Jimmy Jack and Rick Lavezzo are out here from the West Coast as well. Steal It Coatings is here on site. Great to have them on board this year. It's a really cool setup they got. It's a coating for chassis, so you can put it on, and if you have an issue during the race, you can weld right through it. So be sure to get on their website and check it out. It's a great company, and we're glad to have them to be a part of the Ultra 4. So thanks again, everybody on site and back at home tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Hit our King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit the share button. Get on Ultra4 Instagram. Do the hashtags. You can follow me on Instagram, Miles at KOH. So Levi Shirley and Jason Shipman are still waiting to qualify. They should be our last two, unless somebody shows up last second. So far for the KMC pole position is Jeff McCullough. Second place, as it stands right now, Derek West. Third, Brian Caprera. Fourth, Eric Miller. Fifth, Josh Bleiler. Sixth, Chris May. Seventh, Clay Gilstrap. Eighth, Rusty Bleiler. 9th, Bailey Campbell. 10th, Waylon Campbell. 11th, Tim Diekman. 12th, Raul Gomez. 13th, Kasey Gilbert in his 4800 car. 14th, Michael Ariesman. 15th, Mike Bergman. 16th, Ross Pilgreen in his UTV. 17th is Jason Blanton. 18th, Marcos Gomez. 19th, Kevin Porterfield. 20th, George Schooley. 21st, Jay Calloway. 22nd, Jeff Brown. 25th, Philip McGilton. 24th, John Mole. 25th, J.P. Gomez. 26th, Chad Hunt. 27th, Stan Haynes. So that's our top guys right there. But Jeff McCullough with Old South is in the KMC hard charger position. But we have a really fast guy up next, Levi Shirley. We'll see how he can mix that top spot up or not. He's driving a single-seat IFS Campbell Enterprise machine. So we're still trying to get Brian Ziegler back off course. Our King of the Hammer safety crew's working hard, but this mud's making it hard for everybody out here. And there's still a lot of dark clouds every which way you look. It'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. Weather pending, we go live racing at 10 a.m. in the morning for the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. Sounds like Levi Shirley will be leaving the start line here very soon. Doing a couple final checks. Levi Shirley, hot on course. Number 81 out of Dodge City, Kansas. And he is running hard. Pushing that Campbell Enterprise single-seat chassis. Almost identical to Waylon's car. Hitting the Holly EFI liftoff, landing at the four-wheel parts landing, heading into the RCV corner. Levi Shirley's got a great run going. Remember, smooth is fast, and so far so good. Really pitching it into the corner there. The track's coming together better and better, tacking up here and there. Levi Shirley has a great, great run going, hitting the Savvy off-road roller right there, heading into the Dirty Turtle whoop section. He just passed where Brian rolled over, heading downhill in that tight 180 section. Man, if Levi holds this run together, he could bump out Jeff McCullough off the KMC pole position. We'll see. It's going to be close. Levi Shirley is hauling the mail out there. Up next will be Jason Shipman. Great to see him back racing with us. He took a little bit of a break. Glad to see him back out here. Levi Shirley sending it to the KMC finish line. Levi Shirley with an unofficial time. New fastest lap of the day. 1:28.317 unofficially, that KMC hard charger pole position. Levi Shirley, 128.317. That is a smoking fast run. Congratulations, Levi Shirley. Jason Shipman up next. He's in one of his older solid axle machines. He's got a really nice IFS car, but he left it at home for the woods. That way, if he needs to do a little bumping out in the woods, he's not scared to hit a tree with it. But what a great, great run for Levi Shirley out of Dodge City, Kansas. He's currently sitting in that KMC hard charger position. The rain just started coming down just a little bit as we put our last car on course. That couldn't have worked out any better for the timing, but tough break for Jason Shipman. Shouldn't affect him too bad, but it's definitely going to make some of these corners greasy as he hits the Savvy off-road roller. Heading into the Dirty Turtle whoop section, you can see the crowd heading for cover. Qualifying is almost over, and it starts raining pretty good. The wind's blowing pretty good. Jason Shipman still on course. So again, timing worked out almost perfect for our KMC qualifier today. It didn't start racing till our last car on course, Mr. Jason Shipman. So we had to postpone qualifying for a rain delay, and we're going to finish qualifying in the rain. So an unofficial time for Jason Shipman, 1:47.001 with the rain coming down. So unofficially, it will be Levi Shirley at the KMC hard charger pole position. He joins Jay Shaw in the 4900 Can-Am class and Albert Contreras in the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, Cade Rod in the G2 4800 Legends class, and Dustin Friesen in the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class. And we just saw Levi Shirley get the pole position, fastest lap of the day with a 1:32. So great run, Levi Shirley, Jay Shaw, Albert Contreras, Cade Rod, Dustin Friesen. Again, this is all unofficial. I'm pretty sure that's the way it's going to stand. We need to cross our T's, dot our I's. Well, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in today. Ultra4Racing.com live. This has been the KMC Qualifier, getting all set up for tomorrow's 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. It rained overnight. It rained during practice. It rained before qualifying. We had to postpone it. It's just raining a little bit right now. It's going to be a wet day tomorrow. So weather pending, 10 a.m. the 4900 Can-Am UTV class is going to kick off. So again, thank you for staying tuned in. Remember, tomorrow, tune in, ultra4racing.com/live. Hit the King of the Hammers Facebook, all the Instagram things. Hit the hashtags. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist. I'll be with you all day long tomorrow. I'm signing off. See you in the morning.